Hello, everyone. Welcome to Asian Economics. Today, we'll be interviewing Dr. Keshav Kumar, who is an expert on forensic science and techniques in crime investigation. He has served 35 years in the active police force in India, where he's applied his expertise and became Director General of Police of his bureau. Today, we'll be focusing on foreign pharmaceutical companies operating in India and the implications of drug regulation, compliance, and enforcement. Thank you so much for joining us today. My first question is from the perspective of foreign pharmaceutical companies that operate in India, including US, EU, Japanese, or Chinese companies, what should they understand about India's drug regulation enforcement environment?
Now, drug enforcement in India is based on two parts. The first part is the central part, and the second part is the state part. So you have to understand not only the central rules and regulations, but also the state rules and regulations, because health forms a part of the state subject. So they have different regulations, and central government have different regulations. So both the understanding of both the regulations is important for doing the work that you want to do in India.
Got it. Thank you.
I, I hope you have made my points clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My next question sort of is, what are the main differences between how drug regulation is written on paper versus how it's actually enforced at both levels?
Actually, working in police for 35 years, I see everything from the point of view of, implementation.
Mhm.
What exactly is investigation? Investigation basically, soiling your boots and with the boots on the ground. So that particular thing I have always found that it is generally missing. So with regard to the investigation, the rules and regulations are very good. And I don't think there is any country which don't have good rules and regulations. Every country has got a good rules and regulations. What makes the difference is how you implement those rules and regulations. And this change can only come when you are, going into the field. Now, for example, the forensics, the application of forensics. I'm not a forensic expert, but I have specialized in the application of forensic science. And what exactly is forensic science? Forensic science is all application part. It's all practical things. So it's not theoretical. Yes, you must know the theory, but
Mhm.
the theory will come to its fruition only when you implement it properly. So I don't find there's any problem with the rules and regulations anywhere in the world. What makes the difference is how you implement that. Like any sort of some criminal activity has taken place in case of the counterfeit medicine. Now, how you are going to apply those sections of the law? Various sections can be applied. Thereafter, how you conduct that investigation. During the investigation, there will be several other evidences that would be coming. Now, how you implement more sections into that, and what more forensic interface that you would require to have in that case, so that you get conviction in that case. So I see the success from the point of view of getting conviction in the case. And how you can get conviction? You can get the good conviction only when your investigation is proper, when the evidence has collected properly, when the chain of command, the chain of custody, and each and everything that the judge would like to peruse before awarding conviction. So he has to be satisfied that the entire the chain of custody and the entire protocol has been followed in a proper way. So it is all physical, it is all practical aspects in the field that makes the difference. So I don't find fault with any of the laws. Yes, there may be here and there some changes that can possibly be affected. But whatever condition the law is, if we are able to implement them properly, I think will be able to get the conviction in the gate, and a good investigation can be done.
Got it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think my next question is, where do foreign pharmaceutical companies most often underestimate the role of state level authorities, police, or like local regulators?
With regard to counterfeiting, I think let us divide into two parts. The
Hmm.
first part is the regulatory mechanism, how the entire thing is regulated, and thereafter the other part is the criminal aspect of that. So, like the counterfeiting, someone is doing cheating, someone is doing forgery. Now, these parts need to be integrated in the investigation. Only then we'll be able to get a good part of it. So this particular thing is not understood properly. Like, the central rules and regulation, the regulatory mechanism. Regulatory mechanism is for the big companies. Then how is your chain of custody? How is your the supply chain being monitored? What are the good manufacturing practices that you are following? So those are all the regulatory part. There is nothing criminal about it. But the moment it comes out of the regulatory part, when it enters the market, and when it enters the rural market, then the entire supply chain takes its call. So what we have to understand, that it is not only the regulatory mechanism, it is also the part which starts thereafter. Like, big companies, they manufacture drugs. So whom do they sell it to? They sell it to the wholesalers. The wholesalers sell it to the sub wholesalers, and then the categorization goes on and on. And as we go down the line in the supply chain, there is a difference. There is the problem. Now, how does counterfeit enter? It is penetrating the supply chain. How is that taking place? The regulators are different, but the supply chain is a very important thing. So the moment the supply chain is impregnated and you are able to somehow get into it, there lies the criminal part. So that particular thing needs to be understood properly. That how what is the ecosystem thereafter? After the factory sends it to the wholesaler, then to the sub dealers, and so on and so forth, to the shops, to the pharmacy. Now that ecosystem has to be understood. If you are not able to understand that ecosystem, you will not be able to get the criminal part of it. So this is where I feel that there is a requirement of understanding the ecosystem down below the ecosystem. You may be following all the good manufacturing practices in a factory, but what about when it leaves the factory? The whole
Right.
problem starts when it leaves the factory. The entire thing, all the criminal activities take place there only. Yes, there may be here and there some cases in which there may be some regulatory failure. That is a different part. But now, whether it is malified or it is bona fide, but the moment it comes down the line, any sort of infringement in the supply chain is constituted to be a conspiracy, it constitutes to be a criminal act. Now, how you respond to those things? For that, again, I will always reiterate that the need is to go down below, soil your boots, the boots on the ground.
Hmm.
In sitting in the air conditioned chamber, you cannot possibly do the investigation. And I'm a firm believer, like, I have practiced policing for 35 years. And the greatest learning experience of my 35 experiences, that you have to go to the scene of crime. You understand scene of crime. If you are not able to establish any rapport with the scene of crime, how are you going to investigate that case? You cannot develop rapport with the scene of crime sitting in the air conditioned chamber and moving the files and taking decision or what are coming in the text form. Whatever you are getting in text form, the context is not there, or vice versa. So you have to go to the field, have your foot on the field. Only then you will be able to understand all these things. So I think from the policing perspective, I feel that there is lack of understanding of the field realities, and also the people who are in the field, they are not going to the field. So the establishment of rapport with what exactly is going on the field is of the utmost importance. From there you get intelligence. From there you pick up the intelligence. From there you make out the case where what exactly is going wrong where. So that understanding with the scene of crime, I like the field operations. That is very important, and more often than not, that is the biggest missing part.
That's really interesting. Thank you. I think my follow-up is you mentioned that many cases are not going on the field, they're not looking at the site itself. How are cases being done when they're not like on the field or on the specific in the supply chain witnessing it?
No, I mean, it is going haywire in the investigation, because the worst part is the people who are investigating, they're not well trained into it. There is staff shortage. There are so many others ailing the administrative issues. Now, how to confront that? And in India, every day you get thousands of cases. How are you going to focus on that? Today you may be getting a very important case, and tomorrow something more important will come down. So that case goes in the background. Like in India, the issue is, we have sufficient amount of everything with us. In foreign countries, then number of the crime is also low, staff is more, so you can devote more time to a particular crime. But here, every day, some crime or the other is taking place.
Hmm.
It is just firefighting. You close this, something happens, then I can do that. Then that case goes in the background. So these are the operational issues. How to,
Right.
get the best out of it. Now again, I would like to say here that how do we get the best out of it? The getting best out of it is having constant connection with the investigating officer who's investigating the case. Have rapport with him, keep following up the cases. I have found that not many people follow up the cases. The offense is registered, they registered the offense, and thereafter one forgets about that. Actually, I would like to draw a parallel. Like, suppose some surgical operation is taking place on some person. That operation is very important. But what is more important is the post-surgery
Hmm.
part. That is of utmost importance. So what we are doing, we are not able to follow up the post-surgery part. And the more you follow the post-surgery part, the better results you are going to get. Like, with regard to the evidences. So whenever there is any case, you get so many host of evidences. Now that evidence, if you're not able to collect in the time frame that you would like to, the more the time is elapsing, the more the evidentiary value is diminishing. Also, the evidences that you are likely to get. Well, suppose the case has taken place today. So obviously everything is fresh. There are more evidences at the scene. But as the time elapses, there will be disappearance of evidences, and this will take its toll when the case comes for the trial. This time gap is of vital importance for the judiciary. Suppose after 6 months you get some evidence and you collect it and say the defense will already raise this case is 1 year old, happened in January, and you are collecting evidences in March, or you are
Hmm.
collecting evidence in June. So a defense will certainly raise these issues. So the constant rapport and follow up all the investigating whatever cases are going on, that is of utmost importance, and that equally applies to all the investigations, not necessarily counterfeit medicine. But I would like to qualify here. Like, I personally feel counterfeit medicine is very important because it impinges upon the public health.
Right.
One failing, can cost so many lives.
Hmm.
So there is absolutely no chance that you take the case very normally and casually. No, we have to be out of it. We have to be at it. Till the case you are able to get good evidences, then you are able to charge sheet the case in the court and secure conviction after prosecution, proper prosecution of the cases. So the entire chain has to be fortified. It has to be understood properly. Only then the results will forthcome. Now, for foreign, all the multinationals who are working here, they have absolutely no idea about the local conditions. And what happens? Some foreign country, they are operating in India. So, they don't have good people who are working for them here. The what I would say, the due diligence of getting that person. Now, suppose the main company has appointed some dealer. Now, that dealer, he is having questionable background. That due diligence, that internal vigilance, that is very important.
Right.
He may be faulting all your things. He might be siphoning off all the things. Who knows? So these are some of the issues that need to be taken into consideration. Again, I would say good investigation and also the internal vigilance is very important.
Got it.
Uh,
Yeah.
I hope I have answered your question.
No, yeah,
But
definitely.
further clarification, I'm there to help.
Yeah, of course. My next question, I apologize, this is a little superficial, or if you've repeated it already, but when it comes to issues of like public health cases with medicine, pharmaceutical with India's pharmaceutical industry, along like what are the typical issues that need conviction? Is it a trend or is it just across the board different sort of issues with drugs?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to get your question.
I guess I'm asking is when it comes to like manufacturing these drugs after during the supply chain after production, what are like the typical issues, legal issues that come up? Is there like sort of a trend or similar issues, or is it just kind of different issues across the board?
I would say that the counterfeiting of medicine is rampant because the stakes are
Mhm.
very high. The stakes are very high,
Right.
and the other thing that I have finding that most of the companies are slightly reluctant in taking those issues because
Mhm.
it affects their brand. They might get a bad name that this company's medicines are faked. It is have they are having a counterfeit medicine, so people will not buy those medicine. The doctors will not prescribe those medicine.
Hmm.
This part is done by some unscrupulous elements. Now it is that this is the need to catch those unscrupulous elements. That is how we'll be able to tackle the issue of public health.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. The next topic I want to get into has to do with like compliance failures and enforcement risk, like more specifically about that. My first question about that is, from your experience as Director of Police General, what compliance failures by multinational corporations most commonly bring them into contact with Indian police or anti-corruption agencies?
I'm again not able to get your question. Can you speak a bit slowly?
Oh, sure. Sorry about that. From your experience as DGP, what compliance failures or like multinational corporations most commonly bring them into contact with Indian police?
Yeah. The first thing is not understanding the ecosystem, how the system operates.
Right.
I think that is a major lacuna. Like I have come across so many multinational companies whose counterfeit medicines have been found, but there
Mhm.
is hardly any response from them because again I have a feeling that they cannot take decision because they have their umbilical cords outside India. So again, then mailing, and he sends the mail, he doesn't understand, then he gets the mail in a different form. So in that process, the decision making suffers. Now, whatever decision that the Indian counterpart has to take here, that has to be in consonance with the headquarters, which is abroad. Now, if those people don't have the field realities here, how are they going to guide? How are they going to take decision? So this decision making is the biggest issue. The other part is the lack of understanding of the ecosystem.
Mhm.
Now, there is suppose some action has to be taken. Now, the headquarter abroad, they do not know the ecosystem, so they are very wary of taking that. So I think those decision making things can possibly be outsourced to the people who are in India, who can take a call on that. No,
Yeah.
now this is administrative. This is an administrative issue. I've come across several things. Several companies, foreign companies, things have been found here in a counterfeited way. But again, the whole problem is, sir, we have sent our mail to the headquarters. We are awaiting for the message. Till then, we will not be able to do anything.
Mhm. When it comes to not understanding like, the local environment or the local rules, is this sort of like a global issue or is it unique to when foreign companies deal with India's pharmaceutical industry?
I think most of the foreign companies are suffering from this issue.
Hmm.
Decision making very late. Decision making very late. And the people who are manning the things in India, I don't think they are empowered to take decisions, or maybe they are not able to put up the issues to their headquarters. The headquarters also doesn't know about the ecosystem and the field realities. They are also in a fix what to take decision, what not to take decision. So this particular issue, I think it's a management issue, and they need to take care of the decision making issues. Like whether now many times we have found that multinational medicines are found in a counterfeited way. They don't come forward because they would say we are waiting for the information from the headquarters whether they would like to get into the criminal act of it or not.
Right.
So this is but this is also playing the other way. Now most of the counterfeiters who are working in the field, they know if they are counterfeiting a foreign medicine, no one is going to come forward.
Yeah.
And this is the dichotomy. The foreign companies people, they're not able to understand this. So there is a lurking fear that if it comes in the newspaper, it will be mentioned all over, then our brand will get a beating.
Hmm.
I see it from a very long-term perspective that, yes, in short term, you may have some reverses, but in the long term, think about your reputation.
Right.
Think about and with my experience, I have seen that, since the time I have started working for Counterfeit Medicine all over the country, and we have conducted so many raids, number of offenses have taken place, and every now and then, if you follow the LinkedIn, you see how many cases are being made out. I can send you the annual report, what we have prepared and what cases that we have made out. It is increasing heavily. And three of the companies, during our meeting with them, they said yes, because those people took the decision to take it by the horns. So they have mentioned that there has been an increase in their sale. So this act of not acting has not helped. Rather, it has helped them. So I want to sell the idea that for a particular term of time, say maybe 1 or 2, 3 months, you may suffer setback.
Yeah.
But thereafter it is going to take you in the strides. Maybe your profits can rise, you can sale can rise. So this particular thing needs to be understood by the foreign countries, that we have to take it by horns. And this I have experienced personally in the companies who have come forward. Like I would be very happy to tell you that three companies, Sun Pharma, which is the biggest company of India,
Hmm.
Sun Pharma, then Glenmark. You can just note down these names if you would like to follow up them. Glenmark, Sun Pharma, Abbott, Zydus. They are the people who take the bull by the horns. If their medicine has been found counterfeited in any of the part, they would immediately rush. They would rush their task force. You please go there, get the offense registered, see to it that the investigation is conducted properly, and offer all help.
Hmm.
But not many people come forward. They fear. No, I will brand will get a bad name. I would also like to mention about a long time back in US there was a very big case of Tylenol. In that case, in that kindly I will send you the presentation which I have made on that. In that case also the company took a decision. They stopped production. They stopped sale. Yes, for certain time it was a big reverse for the company.
Hmm.
But later on, investigations took place. It was found that they were not at fault. Then there was a steep rise in it. So this particular thing, I think they are not able to understand.
Right.
This is the point where they must understand that if your medicine is found to be counterfeited and then it has been seized somewhere, due diligence, due course of action, due course of legal action needs to be taken. That is in your interest.
No, I totally agree. Yeah. Especially because it's like when you have the long-term issue of faulty medicine, you can't really hide it up when it happens.
It is a public health issue. Someone,
Exactly.
I'm a retired person. So when I was offered this job as senior advisor to the Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance, this
Hmm.
pharmaceutical alliance is a conglomerate of 23 major companies of India. All top-notch companies are there in this alliance. They hired me to look after this anti-counterfeit medicine. What a brilliant step!
Hmm.
That I look after the entire counterfeit medicine work of all these 23 companies. I rush, I get the raids organized, we get the investigations done, we go to the court, we see to it that the investigation is done in a proper way. It's a great step. And I personally feel even a small tablet, if I find that it is counterfeit, I think that I have saved one life. And that is the motivating force that I go ahead with that.
Hmm. No,
So
definitely.
counterfeit is something more deadlier than a murder. You really don't know whether that medicine you are consuming is some poison or it is some counterfeit and is not affecting. Now, suppose a diabetic patient, he takes diabetic medicine and it does not work. So the doctor says, okay, well, you take this medicine for 2 months and then come again after 2 months. And after 2 months, when he goes, there is absolutely no change in the health. On
Yeah.
the other hand, it is, it has become counterproductive. Now that patient, because of the counterfeit medicine, it has not acted on his body. What about his 3 months of life? That is
Exactly.
one question. That is one question. The other question is, if he now the doctor will tell, "Ki, yes, last time I had given you the power of the dose was 20 milligrams, and I had given you for once a day. Since it is not working, you take the same medicine or the other medicine for twice a day with 50 milligrams. Now
Hmm.
that person does not require that much of doses. So it's a slow poison. It keeps killing you. This particular thing needs to be understood. Whenever there is any counterfeit, we must have in our eyes that patient who would be taking that medicine.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. I think we've run out of time, but it's been great discussing this with you. You shared a lot of insights. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. I
Thank
will
you.
send you that. I will send you that presentation.
No, please do.
And
Yeah.
also the work that we have done as in the Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance against counterfeit medicine.
Hmm. For sure. I look forward to seeing that. Thank you.
So you're in Kazakhstan now.